trip. Like every youngster, Samir and his friends loved to travel. That year, Samir and his friends planned a trip to Nainital. His friends Ravi and Naveen took out their bikes and set off on a road trip to Nainital. But neither of them knew how much that road trip would change them. Samir, the planner, had no faith in either the devil or God. But this trip would transform all his beliefs. On the second day of the trip, Samir and his friends were returning to their hotel after an outing. On the way, they found themselves on Bawali Road, about 3 kilometers from Nainital. By the time they arrived, it was evening and sunset was still about an hour away. Their inventive minds decided to explore the area, and so they stopped their bike in front of a very old iron gate. The gate was in a very bad condition, and there was no one around. The British era cemetery on Bawali Road was famous for its history. It was said that a landslide had occurred there, killing around 150 people. Since then, the place has been considered one of the most haunted places in Nainital. But despite hearing these stories, Samir and his friends got off their bikes to explore the place and walked thoughtlessly into the cemetery. Of the 3, only Ravi had read anything about the cemetery. As he told the other 2 about the cemetery's stories, his friends became even more excited to see it. In an instant, everyone was racking their brains to solve its mysteries. They started talking loudly and touching things recklessly, making fun of the dead. Samir and his friends started taking selfies inside the cemetery, and in their fun, they began mocking the place. Unconsciously, they had no idea how dire the consequences could be. After spending half an hour in the cemetery, the 3 decided to return to their hotel. They started their bikes and headed back out on the road when they first noticed something strange. After just a kilometer of driving, Samir and his friends felt a strange fatigue and intense pain throughout their bodies. The pain gradually increased, as if someone were sucking the life out of them. Enduring the pain, they kept their eyes on the road and continued on their bikes towards the hotel. But as soon as they reached their hotel room, their heads began to spin. Their foreheads became so hot, it felt as if someone had placed a lit candle on their heads. They all began to shiver with fever. And then, for the first time, they felt someone with them, as if they were not alone, and that someone from the cemetery was with them. There must have been more. Just then, Ravi saw in the mirror of the room that dark shadows were sucking the life out of Samir and Naveen, and they were slowly falling unconscious. But before Ravi could do anything, he felt dizzy and fainted too. A little while later, when Samir woke up, he and his 2 friends were in the same graveyard. The 3 of them were searching for a way out, but even after wandering for a long time, they couldn't find a way out. They were trapped inside the graveyard. In the darkness of the night, Samir accidentally stepped on a grave. He looked down and saw Naveen's name written there. Next to it was another grave, Ravi's name. When he looked closely, he saw Samir's own name written on the 3rd grave. His heart skipped a beat. Then something rolled at Samir's feet. When Samir looked, it was Ravi's severed head. Samir's eyes widened in shock. As he screamed and turned to his friend Naveen, Naveen's eyes had turned black, and he was staring at Samir with his neck twisted. Before Samir could react, Naveen grabbed his neck and lifted him into the air. Samir writhed in pain when Ravi woke him from his unconscious state. The 3 of them were still in the same hotel room, and what Samir had seen was a dream. When Samir told Naveen and Ravi about his dream, their hearts sank. Ravi and Naveen told Samir that they too had seen the same dream as Samir. Trembling with fear, the three of them ran towards the reception. Ajay, the waiter at the reception, was a local hillman. He was well versed in the stories of ghosts and spirits. After talking to Samir, he was convinced that the boys had inadvertently angered the spirits of the haunted cemetery, and that the spirits would now haunt them everywhere. Ajay, having learned the Nainital mountain tradition since childhood, was furious. He led them back to their room. He had the three boys sit in a circle and repeat a mantra after him. He told them that no matter what they saw, they must continue chanting. Ajay closed his eyes and began to apologize to the spirits, which they began to repeat. Then, they saw several dark shadows hovering in the air around them, circling. The sight terrified them, but they continued chanting, and the shadows vanished shortly after. Ajay told them that the spirits of the cemetery had now forgiven them and stopped following them. Immediately after that prayer, the heat in the bodies of all three stopped, and upon waking the next day, Samir and his friends felt as if nothing had happened to them the previous night. Their pain, fever, and dizziness were gone. All that remained was that horrific experience. They will never forget that night, but they decided that they would never be so careless again, and never even by mistake set foot in a cemetery again. Friends, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.